Hey guys, Drew with Because Jiu Jitsu back again. We're gonna go over some basic mount escapes. When I say basic, it doesn't mean that it only works at a basic level. It means that they're easy to learn and they're reliable. These are ones that you're gonna see all the way from white to black belt, used constantly, and you just gotta get better at them so that you got somebody who's good on top of you. They'll still work if you do them right. So we'll go through some details and hopefully up your escapes from one of the most terrible positions to be stuck in, bottom mount. All right, so the first thing you need to identify when you're bottom underneath mount here is how high up the mount he is. If he's over my hips, I consider that a low mount. That's not a good mount for him. Oftentimes, most mount takes will end up sitting on my guts, so basically below my rib cage. This is what I'd call a middle mount. This is useful for him, but the best mount for him is a high mount. If he gets his knees right under my armpits, this is terrible for me, this is great for him. So I need to identify what mount I'm in because certain escapes will only work in certain mounts. The one that we're gonna look at first works in all three of those ranges, the low, the middle, and the high mount. And this is gonna be your basic trap and roll. And there's many different variations. We're gonna go over two different variations on this one. The first one is going to be trapping aside, okay? So either I've trapped it by grabbing over top of it. The only reason we're trapping is because the direction we're gonna bump him, this would be his first post to post out and stop it. So we're going to preemptively break that post or disallow it from touching the ground. Either I'm grabbing onto it or what often happens is they're hooking under my head or trying to do something that they trap it themselves. And if that's the situation where he traps it himself, all I have to do is just sort of reinforce it, just put something here so he can't take it out. Either way, this arm has been trapped. I'm going to drop the same side leg flat to the ground, and my other leg, if we turn a little bit, is going to come right into his tailbone right here and up on my toes. So I'm gonna spring up and diagonally over to the side that I'm rolling him to. I don't wanna go straight over my head. I don't wanna go straight to the side. Right in the middle of that, 45 degrees is where I'm aiming. All my butt comes through the hips, and I can use this arm here under his armpit to add a little extra bump. Bring him over, posturing high, putting our hands on the hips, framing, making sure we're safe in close guard. So one other variation of that, if we have to take striking into account. This last one we just did is mostly for grappling. Striking, I'm gonna have my hands up here ready to deflect if I need to, shelling like so. I want to use my hips to bump him and put both of his hands on the ground, either this side or that side. So I'm gonna bump him diagonally. And once he does that, I'm gonna put both hands to the near hand, and as he comes back up, I'm gonna push it to his belly. Immediately once I get here, I'm dropping that same side leg flat, knee to the middle, and I'm bumping him over this way, coming up, posturing, hopefully just escaping the situation and getting safe. All right, the next one we're gonna go over is what I like to call an ankle pick or ankle drag escape. And this one is one of those ones that only works in a middle or low mount. If he's all the way high up, this one's not going to work, but I can get there by keeping my hands really tight here so he can't isolate them and wiggling down like this until I can get my elbows sort of pointing into his quads right above his kneecaps. Here it's gonna be difficult for him to get his knees up without lifting my arms. That gives me a chance to use this one. I'm gonna pick a side I'm gonna do it to, dropping that leg flat. And now here's a trick. I wanna turn my hips towards the direction I'm going to reach over with this leg, but I don't wanna move my shoulders. I wanna keep my shoulders flat on the mat and turn my hips. If I turn my shoulders, I'm getting my back taken every time. He's waiting for that. So I need to make sure my shoulders stay nailed to the ground. I'm gonna turn my hips, reach over and find this ankle, drag it over my leg. At this point, all I have to do is keep this elbow in front of this knee and pull my leg up to meet my elbow. That's gonna pull it under his leg, trapping in essentially a half guard, where I'll turn the other direction, shrimp, and pull him into a full guard. One other variation to this one that can happen is we do everything right, we get him down to here, I turn over, and I just can't get purchase on his foot. Sometimes for whatever reason I can't find it, or I can't get a good grip on it. Don't stay here groping at it all day. What I'm gonna do is take my flat leg, move it out, and then replace it with my other one underneath this time like a hook. Move it over top of my thigh, and the same thing. Drive, shrimp, guard. This last one we're gonna go over is essentially like the trap and roll, but it's sort of a what if. Sometimes we'll trap the arm like this, and as I go to buck him, he's gonna use his leg to post like that since he has no arm. Immediately when that happens, I'm gonna bring my knee to my elbow, which puts this frame in between him. He's never getting back to mount at this point anymore. He's sitting on top of a lever. This makes it easy for me to turn, shrimp, pull him out into full guard. One of my favorite sequences that I used all the way from white belt up was trapping as if I'm gonna bump, and I just give it everything I got. If he goes over, great, it worked. If he didn't, I'm immediately throwing that leg up, so I do it as one move. I'm gonna trap this side, bump and put this right here as if I knew he was gonna do this. Like I said, if he didn't, he goes over, that's great. If he does, it's already there. And then I'm turning, framing, getting back to guard, no longer in mount. All right, guys, I hope those work as well for you as they do for me. If you got any questions or anything to add, make sure to drop them in the comments. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to see the future videos, and we'll see you then.